All right, everyone, welcome back. Day 5. We are feeling a lot better than we were yesterday. There was definitely a bit of a motivation slump, but we have totally gotten over it. I want to keep this as quick as possible. We have done a lot since we last talked. I first want to say I decided on the dentist niche after a little bit of research, and I know dentists are a very common thing to pitch to. I know a lot of different freelancers and agencies or whatever pitch to dentists, but based on my research, I think we can do okay. And then I just want to show you this website. I'm going to blur out their details, of course, but we have their info just straight up off the, like, it's just not even close. Like, it's just so bad, it's kind of hilarious. And the mobile site obviously is not any better. Now, speaking of mobile sites, one thing a lot of these people may neglect is they say, oh, what, our website's okay, we see it all the time, but they fail to realize that the majority of people are probably accessing their website on mobile. So that's why in my little mock-up that I designed here last night, we wanted to make sure this mobile website would look and feel like a totally fresh, modern, new facility. I don't know about you guys, but this look totally gives me a feeling of like a fresh, like modern, up-to-date company. And we can do this, you know, in the ballpark of a few $1,000s. So I assume that if I don't completely blow it on the pitch and I can get someone on a meeting just to plug in their details so they can see their address and their copy and their brand name and everything, you know, even their brand colors, we can customize all of this very easily. I would assume that a lot of people would see the value in this. I don't think a lot of people are going to completely reject the idea of getting a new digital presence. So I think this is a fairly safe bet. And then I wanted to show you guys something else that I worked on recently. I don't know how closely you guys are following AI, but ChatGPT's agent mode came out pretty recently, and it's kind of like Manus, if you guys know about that. But what I basically told it to go through Google Maps and search through the businesses and find independent practices. So what I mean by that is, if you just search dentists, a lot of them are going to be chains of like 300 locations across the country. Whereas if you look for independent practices, that means, you know, some dude graduates dentistry school and then opens his own clinic, and it's just one location. So they have one website, you know, one set of data to deal with, because frankly, dealing with a massive enterprise level dentist chain is just not an option for me. That's just not something that I can handle. The scope is too large. So I had ChatGPT agent mode create an entire spreadsheet showing the practice name, the website, the number of locations, which varies from 1 to 2, and then a quick summary. And so this just lets me assess whether it's good. Anyways, yeah, so I can take the practice name, and about 70% of the time I have success with this. I can plug the name into Apollo, and Apollo will give me the mobile number and sometimes email of the owner. So I think what we're gonna do, instead of blasting a crazy amount of cold calls, is we're gonna stick in a niche where I can sell a version of this template to as many people as possible until someone buys it. And then obviously I'm not gonna just sell the same template over and over again. I don't wanna do that, but that's the idea. So instead of just saying, hey, here's a website, trust me, bro, I'm gonna try to lead in some charismatic way, try to make a joke about something, try to be a little more personal and not such a salesman. See if I can't get them on a meeting where I can show them what their new online presence could look like for just a few $1,000s. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is hidden concerns. And what I mean by that is, when I was on the receiving end of a lot of cold pitches as a YouTuber, people are emailing me all the time about, oh, I want to edit your videos, your thumbnails, and this and that. When I was on the receiving end of a lot of those pitches, my best advice that I could give to those people is make it as easy as possible for me to say yes. So if I'm making a website for you and I'm doing it in something that requires a monthly subscription, I want to know, like, am I sending this person my credit card who I don't really know? Or there are a bunch of hidden costs about, like, oh, does this integrate with what I have? Do I need to learn something new? If I wanted to update a blog, how do I do that? Is that hard? Like, there's a bunch of things that are going to be running through these people's minds subconsciously that we want to address, because by default, they're probably going to be skeptical and they're going to have their defenses up. But if we can diffuse all of the concerns that they have ahead of time, that will make it much easier. It'll make it like much more friction free for them to pay us. So everything today has just been the result of me thinking a lot and doing a little bit of research and taking some action. Now I feel like we have a pretty strong path forward. Obviously, I'm not a passionate dentist web designer, and this isn't what I'm going to spend my entire life doing, but we need some money, and I feel like this is a good way to culminate a lot of the skills that I have and do something as part of this series. I have good news and bad news. I just built a really long list, and all of these leads are looking really solid. The bad news is it's now 6 p.m. and I'm gonna break my promise that I made yesterday about making a call unless I make one right now. Problem is everyone on the East Coast is off work, so we are going to call a California spot right now. And yeah, not expecting success here, but this is what you gotta do if you wanna be consistent. You gotta do something. This comment is so relatable, especially with what I'm doing now. I feel like I've spent so much time with these people now that I'm researching them, and then it feels like almost a personal attack when they, thinking about them saying no. Just an update, it's been an hour since I said I was gonna make that call, and I still haven't. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the quality of my calls are so dependent on how I'm feeling in the very moment. That can't stop us from the fact that we have to just do it, just to check the box, just one. I'm gonna make one dial. They're probably not gonna pick up, but we are committed to deliver. Okay, that doesn't count. We got the wrong number. That was just the clinic's number. I'm trying to get the personal. Doesn't count, so we have to go do another one. Oh, cannot be completed as dialed. Can't be serious. Dude. Right when I'm getting the fucking courage to do it, I'm getting hit with the wrong number. Yeah, this is the right number. I checked it. You have reached the desk of. Dude, that's like the wrong name. Oh, okay. That's 3 separate dials, man. Okay. You know what? I can't stress how much of this is a mental battle. Like, if I could just be a robot and do work, like, this would be so easy. But I'm just like getting tripped up so hard, and like my motivation to like do this is so correlated with how I'm feeling in any given moment that I'll never know. I can plan to call, and then if I'm just not feeling it, then I'm just like just a crazy anxiety freak. That's the funny thing about this series is most people aren't gonna show the weird, uncertain areas where you're just trying random ideas and it totally seems irrational and just completely out of alignment. But I think for a lot of people, like just trying random stuff like what I'm doing now, like an educated guess type of random stuff, I think is kind of just the only way you can really do things. So what I think I'm going to start doing is combining the cold calls with the cold emails, but be so much more intentional about it. So instead of thinking of this as a crazy numbers game, I'm going to be very intentional about emails and very intentional about phone calls and kind of call back and, kind of nurture these leads in a way and try to get a specific yes or no. I've just heard that I've been, doing a lot of research, of course, and I'm hearing that like the brute force method of just going down a list and ripping 300 in a day is kind of not the way to go these days. So we'll see if a little bit more of like a customized approach gets us better results. But I'm gonna just probably get some emails ready to go to fire off early in the morning, so they're at the top of the list. And today is a Friday, but a lot of these people are working Saturdays. I don't know if I'm gonna get around to it tonight. Honestly, I think I'm gonna need a break. This was just a long week and I haven't really done anything like fun for myself. So anyways, that was day 5. That is me officially concluding the original commitment of this series, but I actually think it's been really important to document this because it's been giving me so much more like I can let myself down, but I can't let you guys down. So I have to like at least do the things that I say I'm gonna do, which I think, I made 4 calls today. Of course, again, they were all inconclusive, but it's something. So there we go. That's 5 videos in a row, as I said I was gonna do. Proud to have checked that off the box, even though we didn't really get anywhere, but hopefully you guys are getting a very real picture of what it looks like to kind of actually start from nothing. So there you go.